So, good evening, everybody. You're welcome once again to our class. Welcome to the Sustainable Youth Led Agronomy Knowledge Transfer class. So, let me give a little bit of summary of how our class is. So, first of all, this class is meant to solve the knowledge gap for young agripreneurs with respect to agronomy practices, because there are a lot of young persons that are into this craft, a lot of young agri graduates, but they don't really have access to information. So this is like a platform for you to get information, number one, meet practical farmers, those that are farming, not those online content creators. So that is the essence of this class. So you are welcome. You are welcome to this class. Um, Thank you so much. So the last time we discussed integrated nutrient management. We talked about integrated nutrient management, how the plant make use of nutrient management. It's more of like if we are going in series. So we first discussed the abiotic factors. Now today we are discussing the biotic factors that can affect your production, crop production. And today we'll be having Mr. Oluwaseun taking the class on common pests and diseases. Common pests and diseases. So I will read Mr. Oluwaseun profile. So Mr. Oluwaseun Akindoture, I'm sorry if I'm calling it wrongly, is an agronomist by profession, is actively contributing to the success of agriculture for over 10 years, over a decade. He is an area partner, a lover of God, food, and business. So, Mr. Oluwaseun, please, the floor is yours now. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
So, in our last classes, we have been discussing biotic and abiotic components, and we also discussed nutrient management. So, today we'll be discussing biotic components that affect farmers and not just farmers, everyone in general, but most especially farmers and newbie farmers who might have a hard time in managing their farms due to some of these pests and diseases that we'll be talking about today. So a quick dive in. My name is Oluwaseun Wakindotire, and um, like my bio said, I have over 10 years. Is it over 10 years? Yes, I think so. It's over 10 years. So um, let's quickly dive in. Pest really pest? That question is really boggling my mind. Pests are not pests because they are pests. They are pests because they interfere with um should I put it a well-defined process. So anything you're starting, imagine you are starting or you're painting a floor and someone steps on it. Now the person might just be walking. I mean, the person is just enjoying his life or he just wants to move from point A to point B. But because the person is affecting your process of painting, and by affecting your process of painting, he is defacing or is destroying the work which you have put there. So that's when you can say that this is a pest. Pests are, I mean, when we define pests, they are things that are um the things that disturb a process or disturb an organization or just generally things that would bring harm or detriment to a way of doing things, a way of life. So diseases, I mean, in scientific definition, we said diseases are a deviation of from the normal process or the normal way something is supposed to move. If something is supposed to move horizontally and it's moving vertically, something has affected it by making it move that way. So, in definition of pests and diseases, a quick question: of all the things we're going to mention today, which of them do you think is which of the pest or disease do you think is the most important in the agricultural sector? We'll answer that question at the end of the class. So let's quickly dive in. Next slide. Please, are we following? I need an emoji answer. Following. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Next slide, please. Next slide.
I've moved to the next slide.
Okay, so we'll be talking about the first one, leaf borer. Um, we'll not be discussing a lot of insects that we are familiar with because I mean I'm very sure most of what some of you want to hear, thrips, whitefly, aphids, and the likes. But we'll be doing some other things today. So first on the list is leaf borer, and I'm very sure we might not be so familiar with it, but whether you like it or not, it is a pest. And since it is on this slide, it's something that you can eventually encounter in your agricultural practices. So in for leaf borer, it is a kind of biting and chewing insect, as the name suggests, and it is very, very destructive in the sense that once they attack your plants, you start having stunted stunted growth. You see there's a way they move on your plants, the way you can notice them. You see these pathways on your leaves, just like the way leaf miners work on tomato leaves. So you'll be able to see and notice this insect. When you see them, you're able to notice that, oh, it is a leaf borer that is probably attacking my farm. Although it is not very, I won't say it's very common in where we are. It is not an incident that is very common, but nevertheless, these are part of the stuffs that attack your farm. And when you have this kind of pest, you tend to have small leaves and white blotches that appear on your farm. And it looks like a bee. I mean, if you can see the picture very well, it looks like a bee. So if you see this kind of stuff or insect on your farm, you're able to identify and say, okay, this is probably a leaf borer, or this is whatever is affecting my farm. And a lot of times, when we see stuff like this, we tend to probably just first go for the closest insecticide that we can go for. I think in one of our classes, we'll be discussing insecticide management and IPM, insecticide in IPM generally. So when we get to this kind of discussion, we're able to talk on insecticide that will be able to manage some of these pests. But generally, leaf borers, they lay their eggs on your leaves, and once they lay their eggs and you are not able to control them from their egg stage, then they become a problem for you and they start attacking. And when you don't have leaves on your plant, you tend not to have photosynthesis, thereby leading to no production of food, thereby leading to loss of fruits and stuff like that. Now, one of the um, things I love about talking about pests and diseases is the favorable conditions necessary for these things to thrive. As much as you are trying to make sure that these insects don't thrive, you cannot be 100% perfect in making sure that they are not available on your farm. So it is important that we make sure that the conditions for development and growth of pests and diseases on the farm are very minimal. So I'm not to encourage their growth, but to discourage them in every sense. Are we following? Can you hear me? Okay, good. So next slide, please. Okay, I'll take it from here. I can't see the screen. Okay, cutworms. So these cutworms look like normal worms that you see on a daily basis, but they live mostly in the soil, and most of the time you might not be able to. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, network. I have to join again. So okay, so where did we stop? Cutworms. Can you hear me now? Hello, can you hear me? Can I go on? Hello, I can go on. Thank you. So we stopped at cutworms. As I was saying earlier, in the morning or hello. So you can see them, or so you can see early in the mornings, late at night, and I doubt you will be found around. Most of us farms or 9 just before the sun comes up. But then again, if you are really trying to make sure that you are having a holistic uh, and making that thing is happening in your farm and not being able to decipher, it's best to put some money to probably you might not normally see the time period or when during the working hours. It's one of the good things. Um, Earthworm is one of is basically disturbing your plant. I mean, once especially if you have planted, cutworm can be very very dangerous pest to your plant. They can just cut off the tip, and you will be like, I planted something here yesterday. What is exactly wrong? So you it is important that you find them early, late, and do. Also important to know that you have um, plants working on it. Like, it's important to know the history of the land, what there is a history of you have in place before starting your cultural operation or before starting on whatever land you choose. It should be, I mentioned earlier, when they are moving early in the morning. So whenever you want to tackle them, it is also best to tackle them early in the morning or late at night. Now, I'm not going to tell you the best time to spray your insecticide or you spray your fungicide. It's dependent on you or at whatever particular point in time. So that's for possible fungus gnats. I think that's the next one. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? The next slide. So um, I would say that I have experience with the farm, and I think when I even so far and it didn't look as it had any effect. And the my previous screen, I one both chemical no effect on us. So you can use for fungus now, but very form they don't look that. And I've not seen any form of destruction on that being fungus gnats much. Yeah. Okay. And it is easy to notice fungus gnat. And yet, um, when they would disturb the wood around. If they're ever present in your greenhouse, you ask them and boom, yeah, you're one of.
Okay, 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 okay. So I'll continue from where Mr. Sheung stopped because I think he's having a bit of network issues. So for Fugnus gnat is small and dark, and you can usually find them in your greenhouses for both hydroponic and soilless system. Now dis fungus now they are weak flyers, they don't fly much. That is why sometimes when you for those that are into soilless farming, maybe you use cocoa peat and some rice husk and some other things. So the dis insect you usually see them close to the base of the plant, close to the root. They usually move let's say 2 centimeter above and they attack the root of the plant. Now dis fungus gnat they are capable of passing fungal diseases to your plant such as pythium and rhizoctonal solani, that is damping off. These ones they are capable of doing it. So I will move to nematode. Nematode. So nematode are microscopic insect, that is you cannot see them with your two naked eyes, and what they do is they attack the root of your plant. So for nematode I believe we've discussed nematode before when we were discussing biotic factors that can affect your production. So nematode, what they do is they will lay their eggs around the root of your plant. Your plant will not be able to absorb nutrients. Your plant will not be able to absorb water. So you discover that your plant is having nutrient deficiency. You start seeing something like nutrient deficiency. It is because the root is unable to absorb the nutrient, and you see stunted growth, you see the plant start yellowing. That is as a result of nematode. So when you uproot it, you see gauze, you see the root is swollen. That is, you are being disturbed by nematode. And for nematode, you can solve the nematode issues by using biological agent. So you drench the soil with biological agent, and you can also use neem oil. Neem oil has proven to be an effective way of solving this nematode. So I'll move to red spider mite. Red spider mite. So red spider mite, they are you cannot see red spider mite with your two eyes. Now spider mite, they are kind of different from insect. They have a different body structure from insect. So mite, they are like spiders. If you observe in your house, for example, if you are trying to control insect, maybe you spray insecticide, you discover that the spiders in your house they don't die, but it will kill the mosquitoes. The same thing with this mite. So mite, the insecticide you use for mite is quite different from the one you use for general insect. So for this red spider mite, what you will observe it, you will see this is called red spider mite or two spotted mite. Both the male and the female, you will see these two spots, but you cannot see them with your naked eyes. It is only through a specialized instrument that is what you can use to see this particular mite. So I'll move to the next one, broad mite. So for broad mite is still microscopic. You cannot see them with your two eyes. And this one, they are very devastating. They usually attack pepper and tomato a lot. So you see the leaves of your plant like this. You see the leaves of the plant like this, coiling upward like this. It is as a result of this broad mite. And these broad mites, they are in the mite and spider family. So what you can use to control red spider mite, you can use to control this broad mite. I forgot to mention that red spider mite, they kind of have something like web they will spread in your plant. So when broad mites start attacking your plant, they usually attack the top leaves of your plant. That is what they usually attack. So for mites, you can easily use abamectin, the mebalmectin family of insecticide to control them. The next one is called potato psyllid. So this potato psyllid dey. Hello? Okay. Please, if you can hear me, let me know. Let me know. Let me see some reactions if you can hear me. All right. So let me continue. So for potato psyllid, this potato psyllid dey usually attack potato plants. Dey attack potato and other Solanaceae family. Dey attack tomato too. What they do is they will this particular one you are seeing here is the larva. So they will lay their eggs inside the plant, inside the leaves of the plant and even the root system of the plant. So and the fruit. So that is why you discover that it usually attack potato. You see the effect on potato a lot. So you see that this one, it will start boring the tubers of your potato, and it will lead to economic loss. It will lead to economic loss. So I'll move to the next one. Whiteflies. Whiteflies. So for whiteflies, this is usually the period where we see whiteflies, because whiteflies, dey thrive more in the dry season. You start seeing whiteflies by November ending, December and January. And whiteflies, they are one of the most devastating insects, because they are very hard to control, and they usually multiply a lot, especially during the dry season. They attack crops like tomatoes, especially tomatoes and cucumber. So if you are growing cucumber in the dry season, for those that say, oh, there is a lot of money when you grow cucumber in the dry season, get ready to prepare and fight whiteflies, because these guys, anything green around, that is what they attack. If you have bitter leaf around, you start seeing whiteflies on it. Even pawpaw, if you have pawpaw fruit, you see them all over the places. Some of us, we may not really notice these whiteflies, especially if you are not growing anything. If you are walking by the bush path during the dry season, you always observe some white things moving around. They are whiteflies. But once it's rainy season, once the rain start falling, you start seeing them reduce in number. And these whiteflies, they have proven to be resistant against so many insecticide. Although so far so good, some active ingredient has been very very effective for them. Neem oil is effective for them. Then you can use imidacloprid. Thiamethoxam is very effective too, and other um organophosphates too. They are very very effective. Now, aphids. Aphid. Aphid is one of the one of the pests with so many viruses. Aphid aphid can carry more than, I think, more than 100 and something virus, and they multiply so much. The funny thing about aphid is aphid do not lay eggs sometimes. The aphid, let's say, why the mother is pregnant for aphid, why the adult is pregnant, the baby that the aphid is laying, the baby that the aphid is giving birth to, it's also pregnant. So they are one of the most devastating insects you will face when it comes to growing peppers, growing tomato, growing bell pepper, and they usually spread virus. They are the number one carrier of the viral disease called cucumber mosaic virus, and they multiply in number. They multiply so much, and their life cycle is usually very short. So for aphid, sometimes when you are doing your insecticide resistance management model, when you are trying to prepare for aphid, sometimes you use 15 days, because these guys, they multiply a lot. So I will be stopping here for today. We'll be stopping here for today for this session. Then maybe in the next class we'll dive into disease. So I will welcome questions now. Questions. Thank you. If anyone has any question, you can simply unmute your mic and ask your question. Is
Okay,
it-
good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Um, my question is actually centered on um, the, the family of the mites generally. I mean, the red mites and the broad mites, because I have witnessed their destructions one time like that. Um, Actually, I one thing I've noticed about broad mites is that even when you spray the abamectin kind of insecticide,
Mm.
it still doesn't tackle them. And I would like to ask again that aside abamectin, which other insecticide, maybe with another activant, can we spray for this broad mite?
Okay. Okay. So for broad mite, you can still use
Hello, can you hear
spinosad.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Hello,
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So for broad mite and the mite family, if for example you use abamectin and emamectin benzoate, although those two are very
Okay.
very effective against them, if you use abamectin, emamectin benzoate, or mebatin, and you are not seeing result, you can use another active ingredient called spinosad. Although spinosad is not that common in Nigeria, the what is it called, the active ingredient, the brand that has that active ingredient, they are not that common in Nigeria. But you can also use a Priazus Plus. Priazus Plus, that's the name of the brand. Priazus Plus contains the name of the active ingredient is is kind of long, but just check out Priazus Plus. Priazus Plus has,
Penpyroximate, penpyroximate and thiazox.
okay, so those,
Penpyroximate and thiazox.
okay, the two of them, those two, you can just research on Priazus Plus. Priazus Plus is very very effective against mite. Hope we answered your question.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Is there any other question? If you have any other question, I think Mr. Shehu is back. Mr. Shehu, are you back for us?
I've been back since you started the thing.
Okay,
This
okay,
network is not allowing me to do things.
okay. So you can ask any question. Mr. Shehu is able and capable to answer you. Any question that you need that you have with respect to what we've discussed so far. We talked about several insect pests that can destroy your production. So if you have any question, just ask.
So, good evening. Before we end the class, I want to talk about one particular pest that we have not really discussed about. Can
Okay.
you hear me, please? Can
Yes,
anyone hear
yes.
me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So, I know it is not an insect pest, neither is it an animal pest. It is a human pest, a human being. Human beings we are the most dangerous out of all pests that you can ever think of. Because at the end of the day, this so-called insect pest, we can introduce them to a farm without our knowing. Like I mentioned in earlier, one of the when whenever we're discussing pests and diseases, one of the parts I love most talking about is conditions necessary for development. One of the conditions necessary for any um, um, infestation is human activity. And most of the time, we neglect human activity in when it comes to infestation. So human beings are one of the most dangerous of all pests. Out of all pests, human beings are supposed to be at the top echelon because at the end of the day, like our actions and our inactions that introduce this pest and diseases to our farm. So it is important that as farmers and agriculturists and agronomists, whatever field you find yourself in the farming sector, it's important to know that your actions and your inactions can bring about the to the growth or to the detriment of your farm. So human beings are the top echelon of any pest or any infestation that you might talk about. At the end of the day, it is mostly our fault. I mean, sometimes we go to infested farms and we bring those infestation back into our own farms and we start saying that this insecticide or whatever practices that you're practicing is not working. But in the first place, you caused the infestation. So it's important that we checkmate our so that we don't um, make um, make a conducive environment for the growth and for propagation of this pest that we've talked about today. Ogada, take over.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Sheung, for that beautiful
Hello,
vision.
Ogada.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that addition to the discussion. It's very, very important. I think we are even one of the most important pests that we need to consider because most times we are the ones introducing this particular pest into our own farms. So you can follow I just dropped the link to our WhatsApp channel on the chat box. You can follow us on WhatsApp on our WhatsApp channel, and also we have a official YouTube channel that you can watch. So our previous classes, we always record our classes, so you can watch the previous classes. If you miss the previous classes, you can watch the videos on YouTube. You can just go and subscribe to our channel so that other persons will be able to see what we are doing. So, from my own end, I want to say thank you to everyone that attended the class today. I hope you got value. Please, if you got value, let's drop some reactions and let's clap for our facilitator, Mr. Oluwaseun. Let's give him, although the network disturbed him, but he was still able to come back and give us more value. Thank you, Mr. Oluwaseun. Thank you so much for giving us value this evening. Despite the inconvenience in your location, you still try to give us value. We really appreciate. So next week we are going to continue on this topic, but we will be discussing diseases then. Several diseases, that's what we'll be discussing for next week. So please let's try and come on the call on time so that we can be able to, before at least 1 hour or before 40 minutes we are done with the class, then we take questions. So from my own end, I will say good night, have a wonderful weekend, and till we meet again, God peace. Good night, everybody.